Yeah, welcome to a new Harry's Garage video. This is another bit of a special one because I'm teamed up with Silverstone Auctions to do a preview of the NEC sale they've got coming up this weekend, 9th and 10th of November. Today is Wednesday and it's setup day and it's madness around here. You can hear lots of drills and radios and all sorts of things in the background. But there's 115 cars in this sale. It's held over 2 days, as I say. Today is Wednesday, Thursday is another setup day, and then Friday is the first viewing day, and then all while the show is open on the Saturday and Sunday. Right, let's get going. Beautiful DB5, fantastic condition, just arrived. There's a Porsche 928 GT manual just rocked up, but I'm not going to show you any of those. I'm going to show you this Alfa Montreal, not shiny at all. You don't normally present a car at auction looking like this, but the backstory on this car is just crazy. Chap who bought this, he's put in the sale, bought it in 1980, 4,000 miles at the time, and then he owned it all the way through to now. But about 15 years ago, 45,000 miles, he's sort of stopped using it, but he couldn't bear to part with it, so he just put it in the factory while he came up with a better idea, and there it sat. I think he actually pushed it around the factory quite a lot because the paint, when I look round it, the paint on the back is actually worn out. I think they've pushed it around so much that they actually wore the paint off for the back. And I've had a good look round because I quite like these Alfa Montreals. I love the colour, the fact it was orange as standard. It's got quite a good registration plate on it, and it's right-hand drive. I know when I was at Evo, few people had actually heard of the Alfa Montreal. This was a little experiment in the 70s. Alfa thought they'd move up market with a V6 engine. So it's a front engine sort of coupe. It's about 200 horsepower, 130 something miles an hour, 135 miles an hour, something like that. A sort of relaxed, bigger car. You think of the other cars they had the little Alfa GTV and things, Bertoni design. And this was an experiment to go up market. This is a lovely detail. It reminds me of sort of Miura with the fins over the headlights as well. And this one is guided in this condition at 22 to 26,000. Montreal today is a good one, 70,000, something like that. So there's quite a lot of headroom to get this restored. Looking around, it's not rusted away or anything like that. It's just been sat in a factory, dry stored if you like, for 15 years. Can't wait to see what that one makes. Now, there's another interesting car next door. And this time we've got a Renault Alpine, the A610. So Alpine had a go in the 80s and early 90s are coming back. And nowadays they're famous for introducing the A110 just a year or so ago. But back here, 80s, they thought they'd take on 911 with this car. This is one of the last, this is 94, this car, and it's had a fastidious owner who's gone right through it over the last sort of 6-7 years. New suspension, new turbo, all sort of rebuilt, and it's just lovely to see this car. It's a great colour, and I do wonder with Alpine coming back what this will be worth in a few years' time, because I haven't seen such a good example. Some of the details on this, have a look at the wipers. They're known as clap hand wipers. They did this mad movement, start on each side and they meet in the middle. It's a very bizarre movement. And then, because it was against the 911, obviously a V6 engine, I'd love to open it. You open that door like you do on a 911. There's a pull catch just in the door slam. And under there, V6 turbo engine, 3 litre, 250 horsepower. So it's the same horsepower as the A110 of today. But this was a slightly heavier car again. It was more of a GT car like that Montreal. And this one is guided at 20 to 25,000. I think you're going to be safe money in that. There's so few of them, and this looks a really sorted example. Right, let's go and have a look at a few more. Now here we have the noble M600 Carbon Sport. The ultimate model of this car. I can remember when the noble M600 first came out, 2011, and it was one of those cars that drove beyond expectation. This is a wicked car. This is a pure driver's car, out and out driver's car, a lot of horsepower, super lightweight in this form, 1250 kilos, and what an engine this is. It's a V8 twin turbo engine. it originally appeared in a Volvo, but we'll forget that bit. What we will know is it was designed and manufactured by Yamaha. They know a thing or two about engines, and then it was tweaked to this form. And this car, 660 horsepower and its ultimate form. And when you drive this car, there's 3 levels of power: road, track and race. And it's in race where it goes nuts. And even today, this is a seriously quick car. I think it's 8.9 seconds or thereabouts to 200 clicks, 120 miles an hour. So a 6-second 0 to 100, something like that. And 200 miles an hour, it comes out in 29 seconds. Mad. But it was the drivability, the feel of it, and the lightness. You just have to open that door, carbon throughout. And I've never seen a bare carbon car before up this close. And it is beautifully done. And you have to remember, with a Pagani or Koenigsegg, you're paying several £100,000 to have a bare carbon car, Zonda or Koenigsegg. This car is guided at 150 to 180,000, and it's in bare carbon. I can't tell you how hard it is to do a bare carbon car. You have to be so careful to get the weave all to match up. And it's a great example, 14,000 miles. I'm really keen to see what this makes, because whoever's going to own this, if you want to drive this car, this is it. Right, let's go have a look at a few more. Now this one caught my eyes. I was going down the line. Look at it, it's an Aston Martin DBR1, except it isn't. It's actually a 2013 EVANTA DBR1 EVOCATION. So this is, I don't normally feature these in these videos because some of they're sometimes a bit iffy, but this one looks just about flawless to me. I'm lucky to have, well, I know 2 people with the real genuine things of these, and they're squillions. This one is the right colour, even down to the fabric in the seat, and I just think it is remarkable. And when you hear the guide price, then it becomes very tempting. It's a Jaguar powered one actually, rather than Aston straight 6, but it's a 4.2 high compression engine, very well built. They've got a great reputation, they build these sort of cars. And I just think for a special car, whether it's a pub run, whether you're going to chase the Mille Miglia or go to the Le Mans Classic or something like that, as a very special thing in the garage, look at it. You can't go much better than this. And the guide price on this car, 50 to 60,000 pounds. Just the right place here. I'm fascinated to see what this is going to make, but the previous owner has really enjoyed his time with it, and I'm sure the next owner is going to enjoy it just as much. Great to see. Now I love original cars, and they don't come more original than this 1984 Aston Martin V8, owned by a chairman of the bank and lived in London all its life. 10,000 miles from new. This is unrestored, as you see it, just beautifully kept Aston Martin. Oscar India was the sort of nickname for them. There was the Vantage on top, the performance model, and this one was the gentleman's GT car, if you like. Automatic gearbox, but it suits this car because the manual gearbox is a bit heavy actually, but it's so elegant, and just in these beautiful colours, this blue and the sort of magnolia hide. I've not seen one as good as this for some time, and I'm told the history file, you've got to check the history file because it's about this big. Every invoice, everything about this car. And values are slightly softened now, and I think this is such a statement design of Aston Martin, a really good time, and it's guided at 140 to 160,000. That doesn't sound bad to me for a 10,000 mile original car that looks as pristine as that. Now, one of my favourite Aston Martins is here, the V12 Vantage. Wow, I can remember when this first came out, we were so excited because it started life as a 4.2 V8, the modern day Aston Martin Vantage, and then they gave it the 6-litre V12 engine. Just mad. And funny thing was, it wasn't quite as mad to drive as you'd expect, but it had the most glorious soundtrack. Came with carbon brakes as standard, and so many times I've looked in the classified and nearly bought one of these. I love this one. It looks great in black. One of my pet peeves with this is actually these vents on the bonnet. because I think if you have a light colour car, they're a bit heavy. But in this black car, they sort of blend in. So I really like it in this finish. Black interior, manual, had the aluminium gear knob on this one as well. Carbon brakes, looks great. You will enjoy it. I know no one who's bought one of these and hasn't enjoyed it. And it's sensibly guided here as well. I think this one is guided at 50 to 60,000 pounds. Look at it. Oh, that one's very, very tempting. Right, let's have a look at some of the classics over here. Now you can't get more classic British roadster than these two. A brace of Austin Healey Sprite Mark 1s. Frog Eye Sprite, as everybody knows it as. And I just always loved the simplicity of these. And I'm not the only one who's a great fan of these, because Gordon Murray has one as well. And they're just delightful cars. Not quick, but just lovely to drive, dainty, move around. You'll learn how to slide a car because they don't have a lot of mechanical grip. But look at them, they're just so cute. And these are beautifully restored, these two cars. These are sort of original colours. This is the colours you used to get. This was the heyday of the British Roadster. This was just to go out on a Sunday and enjoy yourself. Funny things with these cars, they don't have a boot. If you look around the rear, there's nothing, it's just one shell. To get access to the boot area underneath, you actually have to move the seats forward or something like that. And then it's a one-piece nose as well. So I'm going to open on this one. This one's all open. If I just get hold of it here, and up it goes, and there you are. You have the 943, same engine as in a Mini Cooper in this car as well. So easy to work on. They used to make glass fibre fronts for these as well, because these are quite heavy, but the car is all under a ton anyway. But I've never seen such two perfect cars in an auction like this. They're both guided at 22 to 26,000 pounds, and they're absolutely mint and ace, and I love them to bits. Let's go and have a look at something else. Now I found a little 4x4 corner down here, and look at this thing. I feel as though I've suddenly shrunk or something, but this is the Ford Bronco of 1978. And this car's had a bit of a life because it came into the UK and was first registered in the UK by Ford of Britain, because they used it at their Dunton Technical Centre, the sort of head of Ford in UK. And it's been busy over there, always lived in the UK. It's only about 35,000 miles, but look at it. It is just enormous, 5.7 litre V8, I think it is. Sort of got flip-up seats, four-seater, wheel on the back, giant chunky tyres, looks in utterly perfect condition. I don't think pedestrian crash was a thing in 1978 at all, this cliff face. But love to see it here, and I'm just intrigued by it. And it's actually guided at 18 to 20,000. But what a fun toy that would be for that sort of money. Now the British corner, the Land Rover Defender 90. This is one of the last models, 2016 run-out models, the Adventure, that I think they termed this one. And these are coming very sought after. Diesel 4-cylinder engine in this. This one's only done 490 miles. And yeah, it's worth, what is it, 45 to 50,000 guides. Are quite different to the Ford Bronco, but I'm sure that will sell well. But this is the one I really want to show you. Toyota Land Cruiser FJ90. Never seen one over here before in a sale like this, and UK registered as well. Just look at it. Again, 1978. When I look inside, the big shot with this one, it's got air conditioning. It's quite posh. When you think of what the Land Rover, well, I don't know what series we're in then. It wasn't quite Defender in 1978, but this is what it was competing against. And Toyota had this in America, and it went down a storm. 4.2 litre straight six as well in this, so much more performance than Defender. When I get inside, it's just a bit more civilised. You can see why these are becoming such a cult car. All beautifully restored, and again, I think sensibly guided at 25 to 30,000 pounds. And 1978 also means in the UK, will be exempt from MOT and tax and all that sort of thing. An ultra low emission zone, you can go into it with a historic car. So yeah, not a bad car to rock around London in. Okay, we seem to be in a fast forward corner here. We've got a Lotus Cortina over there, Mark 1. Over there is an Escort Turbo, and behind it the RS 1600. The car I want to show you is this one, the RS Focus from 2003, this example. Now, going back to my Evo days, 2002, Ford announced they were going to produce a Focus RS, and we were properly excited by this because it was all in Prezza and Evo at the time. Colin McRae had gone over to Ford, and he was doing some great things in a Ford RS rally car, and then he came out with this. And I just think it looked right then, and it still looks right now. And this is an unmolested example. They had a trick diff in the front. They were just over 220 horsepower, 215 horsepower, something like that. But it was wonderful handling and just looked sharp. It was the sort of, they were taking on these four-wheel drive cars actually in the market, but it was well priced and everybody recognised it for what it was. And to find an unmolested one now, you think, what is it, 16 years old, 37,000 miles, and it's guided at, I think it's at 16 to 20,000 pounds. That, in years to come, I think will be revered in a way that they are now with the other fast fours, and they're seriously climbing value. So I really like to see that. But here's a peculiar car for you. This is the Volkswagen XL1. Ferdinand Piëch, when he was running VW, did some bonkers things, and he just managed to make the most amazing cars hit production. Think Bugatti Veyron. Now think about this. He wanted to make the most economical car of its time, and in 2015 this came out, limited to 200 cars, priced at 200 and something thousand pounds, but it's all carbon fibre. It's a plug-in hybrid. It has the most wonderful doors, which I'll just put up now. They're sort of McLaren-esque doors on it. No wing mirrors, cameras here, a little TV screen on the screen. Absolute technical tour de force, and 313 miles to the gallon was the figure for this car. I mean, quite bonkers engineering design of this car. I can't remember how many cylinders. I think it's a 2-litre diesel with hybrid battery here. Plug-in now, which is very familiar to anyone with an electric plug-in car now. But 2015, this was a tour de force. You can see the carbon fibre. It's a big weave carbon fibre. The whole car is made of carbon fibre. And I was talking to the guy who's put this car on the sale, and it's guaranteed by VW for 10 years, so it's got another 5-year warranty, this car, and this car has only done 80 miles. It's just some display, and so it's either going to collection or is someone going to use it. Uber cool, I would suggest, to float around London in that, and guided at 50 to 60,000 pounds. But what a statement car for today. Right, let's go and see what else is here. Well, I found another corner of German 1990 loveliness, 928 GT, 944 Turbo. These two cars from Porsche at this period, it was the 911 that was almost getting a bit forgotten, and they thought water cooled is the answer. Friend had one of these 944 Turbos, and I used to compete against one in my little Lotus Land in the road going series. Proper bits of kit. Early 944s were a bit flaky. By the time they came out this turbo, it was 250 horsepower, and it was a real driving machine. It was the S2 and then this turbo. Really like this. It's good colour combination. Guided at 22,000 pounds. But if you want something a bit beefier than 250 horsepower, well, then you go for the 928 GT, 170 mile an hour, ultimate Porsche at the time. They're a technical tour force again. We've done it before. A V8 engine, move right forward into the bulkhead, make a great noise, and really to drive. They're quite a heavy car to drive, and that manual gearbox with the transaxle, and just a timeless design. Porsche were right on top of the game, I think, in this period, and they're deservedly getting a bit of a cult following this car. And this is 25 to 30,000 pounds, so not that much more than a 944. And looks great, good history on this one as well. But there's something pretty special. This is a 1991 BMW 325i. And this one, haven't seen one in this sort of condition for ages. It actually was delivered with Alpine wheels, which are sitting over there, and these with the original BMW wheels just gone on it because the original owner fancied them on the Alpine wheels. But what an example this is. This is only 6,700 miles from new, and it is absolutely pinned. Time warp, original, whatever you want to call it. It's just what I love, going to these sales and just tripping over something like this and remind myself, I can't tell you how desirable this car was back in the day. It was when I had a sort of company car, I had a Cortina, and you'd see a 325i. It started out as a 323i, and then it went to 325i, straight six engine, sounded glorious, and this was the car to have. So anyway, that one is a bit more expensive. I think it's guided at 30 to 35,000, but for a 325i Sport, they're super rare things. They're always modded to death, utterly original, 6,700 miles. So there you go. There's lots of cars. They're still arriving now, but I hope you enjoyed this little roundup around this sale. What you want to do, you can watch it online. You go onto the Silverstone website. All the cars are listed there. If you're going to bid, you can bid online, or you come along to the sale. You need a catalogue to come in at the NEC. So remember, today is Wednesday setup day. Thursday is another setup day, but Friday, when the show opens, it's all viewing, and then viewing again on Saturday and Sunday. Sales in the afternoon. I hope to see you there. I'll be coming down Sunday as well. Great cars, huge selection of cars here. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, keep watching, keep subscribing. More coming along very soon.